Hello. I don't know what that was. Sorry. I've never made a vlog, instructional YouTube thing, so hopefully this goes well. Hopefully you guys like it. If you don't like it, then, it doesn't bother me. I just really hope that there's something that I say that you guys like and we'll get something out of, something that's helpful. So today I want to talk about choosing a presidential candidate. It's an important issue to me. Hopefully it's important to a lot of other people. So yeah, I'm going to start by talking about basically the presidential powers, the powers given to the president through the Constitution. I think that nowadays a lot of people kind of picture a president as, all powerful, a savior coming through the clouds and above the law and, has all this power. But, in reality, the power given to him by the Constitution is actually pretty small, especially compared to, the legislative branch. So I think that it's really good to understand, what he is allowed to do through the enumerated powers in the Constitution. So I am not going to read Article 2 of the Constitution, which talks about the executive branch, but I'm just going to go through and summarize as best I can, and I encourage you to go ahead and get out your Constitution or look it up online and read it for yourself also. So basically, the president has a few jobs. He is commander-in-chief of the military, so he can move troops around and things like that. He always has to have the consent of the Senate, to declare war and things like that. Just always has the consent of the Senate, and that's a good thing. We always have lots of checks and balances, especially because whenever the Constitution was written and our government was created, the people who created it were really weary of dictatorships rising, and so they were really careful to not put a whole bunch of power into one specific person or, three specific people, so the powers are spread out pretty evenly, and so that makes for a really good government. So he's commander-in-chief of the military. He is in charge of foreign affairs, so he's in charge of treaties with other countries and appointing ambassadors and public ministers and things like that. He chooses all the people all the positions who don't have provisions for their appointment in the Constitution. He kind of chooses and he picks them. He appoints the justices in the Supreme Court and also the judges. So that's one thing that he does. He can grant reprieves and pardons. That's another thing that he can do. But he can't get someone out of an impeachment. So a legislator gets impeached because he did something really bad. He can't fix that. He can call special session, which means if, there's something important happens and we need to make a decision now, he can call the House and the Senate together, and so basically a special session, and then he can adjourn it whenever he wants. So yeah, and then the last section of Article 2 talks about how the president can get in trouble. So the president isn't above the law. He can be impeached for treason and bribery and other high crimes of misdemeanor. So he's not above the law. So that's just a basic overview of what the president's powers are. He basically acts like a governor of the United States. So think of it as one state's governor. All the bills come through his desk and he signs them to pass them, or he can veto them, in which case he can be override by 2/3 vote. So it works the same way also. So it's just good to keep that in mind whenever, you're thinking, is he able to do that? Should he be able to do that? Or, what kind of things is the president in charge of doing? So another thing to think about is what you want to look for in a presidential candidate. It's just like an executive position. It's just, there's a lot more responsibility to it. So, executive positions require, leadership abilities and people skills and experience. You wouldn't hire someone into a really important executive position if they had no experience in an executive position. So that's something to really look for also, is how much experience they have, because that'll really reflect on how well they can do the job. And you want them to have a great character too. You want them to be have good morals and be honest and have lots of integrity. So they need to be sort of like an elite kind of person. Of course, they're not going to be perfect, but the point of having a Republican representatives and representation is that they reflect our beliefs and things like that. So that's what you look for. Also, you want to look for a similarity in beliefs between you and a presidential candidate. So, what I would do is write out a list like 10 important issues to you, and then compare them with what the candidate believes about it. So if you believe in pro-life, if you're pro-life or pro-choice, then the presidential candidate that you want to vote for, you're going to want them to agree with you if that's an important enough decision or issue to you. Also, don't be too picky. No one's ever going to agree with you 100% on everything, because that's a little bit outlandish to think that because we're all humans, we all have our own brains and things, we all believe differently. And I would strongly suggest not voting by party, because just like you don't want to be too picky about the issues that you want to align with a presidential candidate, it's the same thing happens in parties. You might have a borderline liberal person enter into the conservative party just because that's the party they choose. It doesn't mean anything. Hopefully it means something to them, but it doesn't mean that, oh, he's conservative, so he must be, pro-life, or oh, he's or she is liberal, so she must be pro-choice. It doesn't always work that way. So I really encourage you to get to know the candidates and really learn about them and what they believe, and how you really just want them to reflect what you believe. Also, on that note, research candidates. That's huge. It's very important, and I would say be really conscientious of whose information you believe and trust. The source that you get your information from is really important. You want it to be really trustworthy, just like, a best friend or a spouse. You have a long time trustworthy relationship, hopefully. And so you would trust what they say, but whenever, you flip the news on and, some reporter says something about, the character or, something that this candidate did, you don't always believe that. You should really check for yourself, and but if you have come to find that news channel or that reporter is really honest in everything that they say, and you've proven that over time, then go ahead and believe that. But I would say definitely look at public voting records also. I'll have some websites in the link bar that I really liked and were really helpful for me. Also, if a website has a .gov behind it, it means it's government owned and operated, so that's probably, no one's probably going to get in there and post their opinion about something. So yeah, just make sure that, you keep those all in check, that, you really make sure that the information is very trustworthy. Also, we're all on the same team here. We're all Americans. We all believe in liberty. We all want to have the ability to prosper. You know what I mean? So, we're working together. So, take pride in the freedom and abilities that you have. Take pride in the fact that you can express a little bit of democracy in our republic to, choose who you want to represent you. So yeah, that's what I have to say. Please leave a comment in the little comment bar thing where people leave comments. And if you want to leave a video response, that'd be cool too. If you have any questions, please ask. I will try my best to answer them. See you later.